Welcome to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast, brought to you by Phoenix Boats. Now, here are your hosts, Alabama Bass Trail Program Director, Kate Donaldson.
Welcome into the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. I'm Kate Donaldson, the Director of the Alabama Bass Trail, and your host for this week's podcast. This is going to be a really fun podcast with both of our Angler of the Year teams. Anthony Goggins, CJ Knight, Anthony Goggins, they took home the South Angler of the Year with 1,064 points out of a possible 1,125. And then Justin Bussey and Ben Webb, they took home the North Angler of the Year and the overall Angler of the Year title with 1,079 points out of a possible 1,125. So great years for both of those teams. We're going to interview both of them. This is kind of a cool deal. To win Angler of the Year on the Alabama Bass Trail is something that's really special. And the competition between the North and the South Division is always interesting. And then I know that Anthony said after Eufaula, now we just have to watch Lake Guntersville. And so I know they were tuned in. It's been a really cool thing to watch these teams as they've progressed. I've mentioned earlier, I started watching CJ fish when he was maybe a freshman in college at Auburn, fishing with Anthony there. They started fishing the Alabama Bass Trail in the early years. I can't remember if it was 14 or 15 when they started with us, but got to see him fish there, got to see him grow up, get married, have kids. Anthony, the same thing, got married just recently in the last couple of years. So I really get to see the transgression and progression of these anglers. Justin Bussey Ben Webb, they've been fishing with Alabama Bass Trail for 3 years now. They've had a great career, but they'll admit, getting in this 225 boat tournament in the cycle and the boat numbers and all the things does fish very differently than it does if you're in, say, a 25 boat club tournament or a 60 boat angler of the Angler's Choice or Fishers of Men or something like that. So we're going to talk all about that and how they enjoyed their year on the Alabama Bass Trail. We're going to talk about some of their finishes and then talk about the talent that is included in that top 9 in the Angler of the Year race. So just looking down the list, and of course I'm old, so I have to put on my glasses. So hold on just a second. All right. CJ Knight and Anthony Goggins, 1,064 points, followed up by Rob Lee, Steve Winslet, Noah and Cole Godwin, John Pollard, Tim Watkins, Jason Tomlin, Justin Foster. They had a win at Lake Eufaula, had a really good season if you listened to last week's podcast. And then Tyler Malone, K Law, another relatively new team on the trail. Brian Adamson, Ryan Lloyd, no stranger to the top 9. John Frank, Mark Womack, again, no stranger to the top 9. Jeff Jennings and Mitchell Jennings rounding out that top 9. 984 points is what it took to make that top 9 this year. It's always been around the 900 point level. This year, just a little bit higher. So looking forward to talking to them. And then we're going to roll over to Justin Bussey and Ben Webb, taking home the Angler of the Year for the North and the overall Angler of the Year. And again, a stout fill. We'll talk about that when we get into their interview. But if right now we're going to take a little short break. When we come back, we're going to have CJ Knight and Anthony Goggins, your 2024 Anglers of the Year in the South Division. They got a check in every tournament this year. Their lowest finish was in 32nd place at Logan Martin. We're going to talk about that along with other things that kind of took place this year. They had 3 top 10s, 1 top 20, and 1 top 35 for 1,064 points. An exciting year for them. And hey, they get to fish next year on the Alabama Bass Trail Dime. So that's got to be comforting as well. So stay tuned. It's going to be a fun show. Excited to have these two teams on. But right now we're going to take a short break and hear from some of our sponsors here on the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. Y'all stay tuned.
I've worked at Jack's all over the South. I just love to make good food.
Enjoy. Will do.
For good people. Like our boneless wings.
They're back, y'all.
It all starts with our house-made sauces. We have this new kickin' bourbon.
A little Southern heat for you.
And of course, our classic buffalo and sweet honey barbecue. We're cooking hearty, wholesome Southern food that's meant to be shared.
You read my mind.
So come on back for our boneless wings in 3 bold flavors. I'm Austin Swain, and I'm all about the South.
Welcome back to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. I'm Kay Donaldson. Apologize, had to slide the camera over just a little bit. All these little icons are housed up in the top of my screen, and so I have to move my camera to function some of those icons. But we have your 2024 South Anglers of the Year, CJ Knight and Anthony Goggins, 1,064 points, guys. What a year you guys had out on the South Division.
Yeah, it was a great year. A lot of work.
A lot of work. You talk about that because, I mean, this is, quote unquote, an amateur weekend guys trail. Y'all don't go about it as a weekend guys trail. Talk about the number of hours that you put in on these tournaments.
Yeah, we definitely put in. I mean, we put in our time, but I think you'd be a little surprised. Other than, maybe the Eufaula tournament. I know Anthony spent a little bit more time on Eufaula given the circumstances. But really, we just spend, Anthony, 2 days per tournament practicing.
Yeah, we both try to just focus on Thursday and Friday before the events. There's times I'll spend a day the weekend before trying to see what the waters look like and just messing around. But we rely a lot on our experiences also from the past and try to look at that going into the lakes. And I think a lot of our failures in the past have kind of led up to this, bad decision makings in the past and stuff kind of leads to this in time on the water.
Well, we said that with Fisher and Ryan and I last week on the podcast. Time on the water, I just don't think anything replaces that. I think you have to be out there. Conditions change so quickly. We saw that last year with Eufaula when the water was way down. The conditions can change so quick out there that you have to have that time and the time from previous tournaments to know what those fish are going to relate to if that water falls and things like that. And only time and experience on the water will help you with that.
That's for sure. The experience we've both been fishing. I'm 31. I've been tournament fishing since I was 6 years old. I know Anthony, he might have fished tournaments before I even fished tournaments, but like he said, the experience that we have through the years kind of has definitely helped us become better anglers, as we age. But there's been several tournaments this year where I feel like our practice really did not, it didn't even matter, to some extent, like the Lake Martin event, which was a big turning point for both of us. We found the areas that we fished in practice, but the way that we caught our fish and the pattern we got on was very unconventional, for us that time of year. And kind of the same deal with Logan Martin. It was we just adjusted on the fly. And that kind of was the deciding factor, I think, for us this year, was just adjusting on the fly. And that comes with experience, time over years.
Oh, yeah. I want to talk about that. What do you think your style of fishing is? I'll start with you, Anthony. If you had to say what your favorite style or what you've kind of coined as your style of fishing, what would that be?
Deep. I like to fish deep. I like to idle. I mean, I don't even like to make casts in practice. Used to, you could do that and find sneaky stuff and pretty much have the tournament won off one place. But it's gotten a lot tougher now to do that. I would say our weakness probably in what we're learning curve right now is the live scope stuff. We're still kind of old school. We like a jig in our hand, on the bank, kind of like the Weiss event. And but me personally, I like brush pile fishing and finding fish offshore and spotted bass. You can do that with spotted bass on the Coosa, and spotted bass typically always get you paid or get you good points. It's hard to win on them. Eric Sumners, he won on them. That's difficult to learn. And but typically, if you're in a points race situation, your spotted bass and fishing deep will always kind of put you in a 12 to 14 pound range if it works out,
Mm-hmm.
But we still like a jig in our hand on the bank though. But you have to commit yourself to that on a winning strategy. That's a kind of a winning strategy, and we like that style too. But
CJ, what about you?
Yeah, for me, I mean, ever since I've went to Auburn in 2000, I graduated 16. That's how I really learned to offshore fish, to target schools of fish, whether it be structure schools, whatever. But I'm just a shallow guy. I mean, I've always uh, really put my meat in the boat by getting shallow and living on Lay Lake. But I've just kind of expanded from that over the years, whether it be shallow brush offshore or whatever. But Anthony's more of a, I would classify Anthony more of a deep guy, more of a target in the offshore spotted bass, and I do that as well. I love doing that, but I'm probably more of a shallow guy. I like a jig, even wacky worms, just whatever shallow. But we work real well together because we can cover water efficiently in both depth zones. Both ways. And this year, that was very key because, I'd be on some fish in the same area that he'd be on fish, but doing something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it didn't always work out that way in the tournament, in particular. One tournament that I think about is the very first one was Jordan. The day before the practice, I was on them, and Anthony, he really wasn't on anything. But come tournament day, we actually, the roles kind of reversed,
Mm-hmm.
and but I'm more of a shallow guy. I
Okay.
would say for sure.
Well, I was really impressed with the Lake Jordan tournament. Been a couple years since we had been there with with the full field, and I thought the lake really showed its potential. What I was hoping it would do at the 100 when we started there a couple years ago, but it really showed out. Y'all had an 8th place finish there. Were you satisfied with that? I mean, I know y'all always want to go out and win, but knowing that the full field 225 was going to be there, or did you think that you could finish a little bit higher?
I was satisfied with it just cause, I found probably about 8 or 9 fish on a place, and we timed it, was able to get there and was able to catch what we caught. And then we was able to make some decisions after that and try to upgrade. And we knew we'd have a good start to the year, just being able to, sometimes that first tournament and being able to get on that first spot is key to get the year rolling right. And that just worked out for us, and if we was just one good bite away, I feel like the weights were better than what I expected. I figured we'd been in the top 5, and it just so happened everybody caught them. The fish over in Bolden played, and I didn't expect those to play as good as they did. The fish bit late up at the dam, and we weighed in earlier, so we couldn't capitalize on that, making that run back up to try to catch one more 4-pounder. So considering our boat number, and the boat number helped us in the beginning, but it kind of hurt us at the end of the day because we couldn't get on some stuff that we had to weigh in. So with what we had, we was really happy with what we had to start the year out right, I feel like.
Well, I want to come back to boat number. I'm going to write that down on my little list here. I want to come back to that in just a little bit. Go ahead, CJ.
I was personally kind of dissatisfied with the 8th place finish because the year before 2023, me and Anthony weighed in 18.5 pounds, basically the same bag on Lay Lake, the same time of year, and we come in 3rd place. And really, we could have won that tournament with one decent coal. And Jordan, it was not the same, as Jordan really showed out. And it was great to start off the year with an 8th place finish, but 18 plus pounds of spots. It's like, man, that's some very strong weights when you have 18 pounds of spots and you come in 8th place. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that I thought, like Anthony said, I thought we'd have had a top 5 finish.
Yeah.
But,
Boy, for catching 18.5, you don't even get an attaboy for that. That's pretty tough.
Yeah. It's, it's wild.
Exactly.
It's wild.
It's kind of like coming in with 19 pounds or 20 pounds at Gunnersville the other day, and you're like, okay, well, you're in 21st place with 20 pounds or whatever, and you're like, what? Huh? So
fishing Alabama Bass Trail, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a treat, wasn't it? Well, you backed it up at Lake Martin, which is a lake that we know a pound can separate you from first to 15th, really. I mean, honestly, because we catch so many 5-pound, five bass stringers there. I think we had 221 out of 225 teams. We had 5 fish limits. So that tournament came in 8th place. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, that tournament was fun. I mean, we planned that one, I feel like, before the tournament even got there. I mean, we knew the rain was coming in, but over the history of time, we've found places to catch 10 pounds offshore, and we have failed at doing that so many times and finished mid-pack. We was kind of like, you know what, we're not going to do that. We'll do that if we have to, but we're going to swing on this one, and just so happened, CJ had one show itself and take his worm away from him, and I pitched over there and caught it on a jig. It was like a 4-pounder at like 8 o'clock, and I was like, and we already put a limit in the boat and was like, all right, what we thought was happening is happening. Let's go run the area and see what happens. And we had some good key bites that probably would have put us up a little higher, and the finish had just come off, and that's part of it. But man, Lake Martin was really we'd been trying to catch a 4-pounder on that lake for like a month. And for all to bite on the same day for us was awesome.
A month, like 5 years.
5 years. True.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have been looking for that elusive 5-pounder on Lake Martin. So that is a fun tournament to have. It's a long weigh in because it's early in the year. So everybody's going to weigh in. They want those points, but you have so many 7 to 9 pound bags. But I always tell everybody, if you want to take a kid and addict them to fishing, take them to Lake Martin. They are going to catch them. Their hands are going to be worn out from taking them off hooks. Like, it's just such a fun place to go.
And is loaded with 12-inch spotted bass, and you can catch 40 a day offshore sometimes when they school up. It's so much fun to go get your line pulled down there.
Yeah. That's what it takes to get somebody really addicted to bass fishing. And then you bring them to Wheeler and you're like, where's those 40 or 50 bass? You may catch 10. They're going to be 3.5 to 5 pounders, but it's not like sitting there just having them pull your string all the time. So I like the atmosphere at Wind Creek State Park. I like the town, the little intricacies of that town. I really like it. It's a fun place to go. Logan Martin, that was your toughest finish this year. You got checks in all the tournaments, 32nd place at Logan Martin. Talk about that tournament.
I'll let you talk about that one, CJ.
Yeah, Logan Martin. I mean, we were very happy with our finish at Logan Martin. Logan Martin was just like Lake Martin for us. We were where we needed to be, but we did not get that big bite. Lake Martin, we needed a big bite to win. Logan Martin, we needed a big bite to get in the top 10. Because there were some real nice bags caught on Logan Martin, but we kind of had a tough boat number at Logan Martin. I was on a lot of fish on Logan Martin. I had 4 or 5 places that I felt like we could catch, between 12 to 15 pounds. And, when we blasted off, I was like, man, this is not looking good, because all of the spots that, I'd been catching fish at, they were just eat up with boats, and, but we ended up catching, I think 4 out of our 5 fish off of one spot that I had found the day before. And we just lacked that one big bite. I mean, if we'd had one coal with a 3.5 pounder, would have been inside the top 15 easy,
Mm-hmm.
And this ended up being like a spotted bass place. We were catching, maybe try to catch like 12 pounds or 10 pounds on, and dang, we ended up catching largemouth off of it, and Luke kind of pulled up on us and give us some good luck, because they wasn't biting that easy when we first pulled up. And it's like, when he pulled up, they started biting.
Yeah.
Well, that's how the TV, we have so many people that give us crap about the TV cameras. Oh, well, we don't want the TV cameras. We don't want you to see our snake hole. We don't want, we don't want you to see our waypoint or whatever that we do. But y'all got a lot of TV time this year, a lot of live time this year.
Yeah, a lot of the weight that we weighed in was weighed in off the camera. I mean, a lot of the camera caught a lot of that. So that was fun.
Yeah. Well, I know CJ was watching the Lake Eufaula tournament because he could not be there. And he said, this is kind of the first time I've really watched it live, like really watching it live. I go back and watch it, but watching it live is different. And I think that's a fun thing that we've added. I think the families get a chance to watch it, and a lot of the wives will chime in and say who they're pulling for and all that. I'm going to talk a little bit about live in just a little bit. I'm going to talk about the Alabama River. You had a 16th place finish, had a little bit of a rebound on the Alabama River. I think a lot of us kind of had y'all picked on that tournament to do well. Anything specific go on there that stands out?
We made
We
good
had
good decisions. Good decisions.
we had a really good practice, and it just it went to crap, kind of tournament morning. It really just the day before the event, we kind of checked a bunch of our stuff. We thought we'd catch 20 pounds on, and it just wasn't happening anymore. So, we just kind of had to go with our gut there at blast off. And I was like, man, let's just, let's just check these fish around the corner right here and see. And we just so happened, CJ made a call. Let's go check this right here. I said, yeah, I caught one over there, and the fish just moved, and they were there on a little 20-yard stretch, and we was able to catch what we caught. And what's funny though is the place that we went to later in the day, we felt like we might be able to win. The guys finished second there, and we went there, and we had to share the water with them. And I don't know. I mean, we done everything we could do on that one. We just didn't get the big bite. Just 1 5-pound bite again with our bag, we'd have been up there in top 5.
Yeah, we did everything right in that tournament. I felt like, the first we had a good boat number right off the rip, and we was like boat 4, and really, I mean, with the way the water was, it was higher and all. We just decided to stay right there around the ramp, and Anthony had got bit in this particular area, but when we fished it, the water was higher, and I was just like, man, these fish, they're not here. They're going to be on the bank somewhere where they can, they can be against the bank, and caught 2 good ones. I mean, really quick, and the rest was history. We like he said, that the guys that almost won, they were in a different area. And, maybe if we would have went there first with our boat number, I don't know, we might would have won the tournament, but definitely don't regret anything, because it got us a top 6, a 16th place finish on the Alabama River. That's a tough place too. Historically tough place for me and Anthony as well. The year before, the Alabama River killed us. I mean, it literally killed us. It took us out of the top 9 to make the Bassmaster Team Championship. It just wrecked us. And so it kind of felt good to catch them there and get a little bit of redemption.
Yeah. That lake, that river system throws us I would say that's probably the most volatile place we go, just because of high water, low water, water changing throughout the day significantly. I'm not talking about 6 to 10 inches. I'm talking about 4 to 9 feet. I mean, it can change just that quick. So it is probably the most volatile place that we go to all year long. Came back with a 2nd place at Eufaula. Anthony fished with a alternate. CJ, you had from what I could see on social media, it was a big event. It wasn't just a wedding. It was like, to me, looked like the event of the century. It was a big deal, but you had to watch online. And I know your granddad came, and as he always does, and represents and supports. But talk about having to watch that from the outside.
It was weird because you had texted me, and I hadn't even woke up yet, and I automatically just went straight to the phone and was watching it. And right when I got on, I seen Anthony catch one, and I was like, oh man, this could be good, And but just seeing it from that perspective, not being in the boat, I mean, it killed me because I wanted to be there so bad, but there's sometimes we have to put family first, and well, I mean, that's always, but this was one of those times where I just, I couldn't make the event. I think I fished ABT for 7 or 8 of the 11 years, and I've never missed an event, never plan on missing an event, but it was, we had fun at the wedding. It
looked like a lot of fun. Anthony, you had a lot of fun out on the water. We had a chase boat on you. They followed you from the very get. And you and Dustin put on a clinic for us. Talk about that tournament.
I slept my truck at the campground, practice for that, like boat ramp. I mean, I do that anyway, a lot of places, I just like to practice. I'll fish at night, but yeah, the alternates, you had to put those down a year in advance. And me and Dustin have become friends over like the last 10 years fishing against each other, seeing each other on the water down there on some of the same stuff. And, we teamed up for the 100 a couple of years ago and had some adversity there. That kind of held us from winning. So I was like, man, it just worked out that me and Dustin was able to get a little redemption, and we're still after that win, but, it's still fun to be able to fish with a buddy you don't get to fish with a lot. And I talked to CJ about it the first of the year. I was like, man, Dustin, if you can't fish or I can't fish, he's an awesome guy to fish with. He's fun. He loves to fish the Coosa. He's actually a really good spotted bass fisherman too, because he likes to idle and look. And I was like, man, he'll make a great alternate, for us in any situation.
Yeah.
So it just worked out. Boat number worked out. Me and Dustin worked it out where those fish just happened to start showing up about the time the event started, and nobody really found them. And I'd watched them. Me and my high school kids tried to catch them there, and we caught a few there. But it just so happened we had a good boat number, could get on it. And we was able to catch our weight there. And later in the day, we was able to run some stuff that hadn't had any pressure on it. And actually, what's funny is that there was one brush pile that's about a year old, and 3 weeks before the event, Dustin rolled up on it and seen one sitting on it, and I was like, hey, there's a big one on this one. Well, I checked it like a week before the event, and I looked, and there's a big one still sitting on it. And we rolled up there in the tournament, and he was like, man, mama, let me catch a big one out of this one. And we threw over there, and bam, we caught like the 515 off of it.
Wow.
It's like, man, that had been sitting there for like 3 weeks, and nobody had messed with it, and it paid off. It was just, it was meant to be kind of deal,
Yeah.
We didn't see any that hurt us, that I felt like I lost a couple that we didn't ever see that might have hurt us. But man, it was just an awesome event for me and him to fish that together. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And like I said, he hadn't been able to fish in like 2 years. So it was a good comeback for him.
Good. It was a lot of fun to watch y'all on live. We made a lot of really good live TV in June. Weiss was good. You follow was good. Gunnersville was fantastic with the live coverage. I love being able to bring that to our fans, and that's a growing segment for us. Like, live is becoming very, very popular among our fans. So we're going to work really hard to try to grow that throughout the next couple years, next 24 months for sure. I want to talk a little bit about the competition that you guys face. We talked about boat number. How important is boat number rotation when you're fishing a 225 boat Alabama Bass Trail tournament? Anthony?
I would say extremely important. I mean, for example, I'm just going to say, for example, y'all talked a lot about Chris Rutland and Kobe Carden gear this year. I think boat number probably had a lot to do with that. I mean, my personal, because me and CJ's been on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Like this, I feel like we had better numbers than we had last year for the timing of the year with shad spawn and brush piles and rock piles or whatever you need to try to get on. And I feel like our boat number is really key on us having the extra weight that it took for the points that we've got is what I feel like. I mean, I think it's a really big deal.
Kobe and Chris pulled me over in the parking lot at Eufaula. I'm going to try to move my laptop just a little bit without knocking everything off. They pulled me over in the parking lot at Lake Eufaula the other day and kind of got on me about me making, there's such a terrible year they're having in 21st place. But you don't see them outside the top 9. Rarely outside. Yeah. This is the first time it's outside the top 9 in 11 years. And usually they're in that top 6. For like 4 years, they've been in the top 3. So it's unlike them. So I won't say they're having a terrible year. It's just uncanny to see them in 14th place at the end of the year. It's just not normal. Do I think they've lost? I think they've lost a step? No, I don't. No, I don't. Not at all.
Not from ability. It's possibly from boat number.
Well,
that's all
I can say for the team signing up for the 225 next year, they've got extra fire like that. That fueled them. They not liking that at all. So, but I do want to talk about that. Y'all took out Rob Lee, Steve Winslet, always a force out on the Alabama Bass Trail, especially when you've got Logan Martin, Lake Martin, those spotted bass lakes that they really, really do well early in the year.
Yeah, Rob and Steve, they've been killing it really their whole careers, but I don't know, the last 4 to 5 years, they're just always they're always in it to win it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
they are.
I think in the last 3 years they've had what 2 second place finishes and the first.
And
So
two, yeah, they've won on
Yeah.
Lake Martin, they've won on Logan Martin. So they've
I
been on
mean
a
that's
tear, no doubt. No doubt.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
It's hard to do.
them-
You know.
we consider them real good friends, and anytime it's close between us and them, we're giving it to them. We're letting them know, hey, we're coming after you.
I bet.
Okay.
I bet they are a fun group to hang out with too. I've gotten to have dinner with them a couple of times at various places, and they are a lot of fun to hang out and talk to. Noah and Cole Godwin, those guys have been with us now 4 or 5 years. They have 2 wins on the Alabama Bass Trail. Young guys, gotten into the scoping deal. They spend a ton of time out on the water as well. First time into that top 9, so they'll be going on to that Bassmaster Team Championship. So I think when you look at them, you look at Connor and Caleb Miller that finished in 12th place. That next group of anglers that's coming up, they're going to be quite stout. You've got Lucas Lindsay, Brendan Holt. I know Lucas Fish for Auburn, young guy that's kind of gotten into that scoping deal too. So John Pollard, Tim Watkins. I mean, John's no stranger to the top 9.
Yep.
He is.
Yep.
He is a stone cold fish snatcher, no doubt about that. Jason Tomlin, Justin Foster, they had a phenomenal year. They won the Eufaula event. They had a great year. I actually had to go back and look at their stats, and they had a pretty, after those first 2 events, the last 3, I think they were top 5 finishes or something like that. So they had a great year. I think they're
them
going
boys can catch them.
They can catch them. And I was looking at some of the other stuff they fished. They fished some other stuff, and they're pretty well, do really well in those too. New team, Tyler Malone, Cade Law. They had a great year out on the Alabama Bass Trail. Brian Adams and Ryan Lloyd.
Yeah, they always catch them too.
Dude, and they put some time in. I mean, they do put some time in. They're from Georgia, really good anglers. And then John Frank, Mark Womack, they've been inside the top 9 one other time on the Alabama Bass Trail. I remember them going to Hartwell. And then a team y'all are a little familiar with, Jeff Jennings and Mitchell Jennings. Mitchell fished at Auburn as well. CJ, you shared some thoughts with me about him, but really good fisherman there as well.
Yeah. Me and Mitchell's fished a lot of events together over, the last 10, 12 years. But one thing about Mitchell and Jeff, I think that a lot of people don't understand is they don't spend a lot of time practicing. That guy, he just shows up and catches them, and I commend him for that, because he is a great fisherman. He really is. Jeff is his dad. Just he's the co-angler, but he supports him. But Mitchell's he's a great fisherman. He deserves to be in the top 9. But I mean he has a lot of fishing knowledge for the amount of time that he puts in the water, and being able to make it in the top 9. That's very impressive. Very impressive.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Teams that got left out of the top 9 that have been pretty good forces out on the Alabama Bass Trail: Josh Chappell, Paul Davis, Chris Rutland, Kobe Carden, John Kellett, Zeke Gossett. They made it in the North Division, so they'll be going to the Bassmaster Team Championship. And then Mark McKegg, Tim Hurst. Y'all beat some pretty good hammers out there on the Alabama Bass Trail this year.
Yeah, it was a fun year. It was just kind of overdue. Me and CJ's been after it for a long time, all the way from when we fished, man, in my little aluminum boat with a 115 down on the Miller's Ferry. I mean, it's kind of been a long time coming. So it's taken us quite a few years to get the fire on all our cylinders, but we ain't letting off the gas though. Lay Lake's the champion, and we ain't letting off the gas.
Well, I want to talk about 2 other things. I'm going to let you go. I want to talk about the difference in being a boat captain in high school now, Anthony, and fishing. Because a lot of things has changed. I mentioned this in opening segment. A lot of things have changed since you guys first started fishing the Alabama Bass Trail. Y'all were in college. You had just gotten out of college. CJ's in college. Now CJ's married, got a baby. You're married, got a son that's fishing in the high school division. How's that?
It's a lot of fun. I like seeing all our kids on our fishing team be successful, and to be able to share my knowledge and to kind of help put them on fish and stuff like that. It's just a lot of fun. Some guys don't like it because they can't fish, but for me, it's a lot of fun, especially when I know we're going to probably catch them spotted bass in real big spots, and they're sitting somewhere, and a lot of times in high school events, you really ain't got to worry about boat number so much
Right.
and get on stuff that I want to get on. So it's a lot of fun being able to share my experiences and all my knowledge with those guys and allow them to be successful also.
Cool. I do want to talk about the Lake Championship. I mean, dude, are you drooling? Are you salivating? Are you ready to get there? Because you got to be one of the teams that we pick in our top 5. I mean, that tournament, Anthony, you've got to win there. Of course, it was earlier in the year. You've got to win there with us. But what about that 170 teams on Lake for a 2-day championship?
Does Anthony still have the record there for most weight in the ABT South event?
I'll have to look.
I think all largemouth I do for sure.
What?
I mean,
I think he had he had almost 26 pounds, I think.
Yeah, I know we had a 29-pound stringer at Eufaula, but I don't know. I'd have to go back and research that. That's a good thing for me to research for live.
Jeremy still have it for life. Toby and Rutland come close like 24 one time.
Probably for Lake for sure.
That's true. I forgot about Eufaula being on the schedule. So
probably Lake.
Before the Coosa River, that's a lot of weight. You get around 25, 26 pounds. That's a lot of weight.
For sure it is. Gonna be different. Fall time tournament will be different, but
I will say though, before I left Eufaula, coming back from Eufaula, CJ had already called me and was putting in work at Lake.
I don't doubt that at all.
I promise you, there will be. I promise you, there'll be nobody outwork us.
Yeah.
Okay, that don't mean we're gonna win. That don't mean we're even gonna cut a check. But with it being here, last year really, we had a great year. But the Wise Championship, I had never fished there before. That really lit a fire in us that I think gave us the confidence to know that, we can compete against anybody. And look, I'm not bragging or anything, but something about the Weiss event, almost winning it. And man, we just barely lost it, and
to Terry Tucker and Jeremy Green. I mean, let's not say that you lost Terry Tucker. I mean, a freaking Coosa hammer legend of the sport and legend of the Coosa River. Not like you lost to somebody who just showed up, went fishing. Yeah. He's got tons of knowledge on that lake.
Yeah, and we come in second, and we didn't even. I mean, really, we practiced like 2 days, 3 days, and we were really surprised at the event we had. But since then we've it's been full throttle. I told Anthony earlier in the year, I said, if we get past Lake Martin, we're going to win AOY. I said, I know we're going to win AOY if we get past Lake Martin. And with those 2 top 8 finishes coming off of Weiss last year, just, everything kind of lined up. And I'm looking forward to the championship being on Lay. Lay's very finicky. That time of year is going to be probably tough, especially if it's still hot. But you can expect some good weights from Lay. It should be a good event. Should be a good event overall for sure.
I think so. You guys extend your fishing season into December with the Bass Team Championship at the Ouachita River. Either of you ever been there? Nobody I've ever talked to has ever been there.
I've been to the Red River and tore up a boat there. So, I mean, I have some knowledge a little bit.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to maybe getting to be there this year. All things staying okay with the family. I had to miss it last year in Florida, but I was where I needed to be. Like you said, family comes first, and that's where I needed to be last year at this time. Guys, how does it sound? The 2024 Alabama Bass Trail South Division Anglers of the Year. How cool.
Man, it's still kind of a shock, really. I mean, it's something me and Jeremy strived hard for. I know CJ and Emmanuel and Marty strived hard. So it's still kind of a shock, really, especially the fishermen we fish against, every weekend and stuff. It was just in our favor this year. It just worked out for us. That's all there is to it. It's just a blessing.
It is no easy task to win an AOY in anything, but 225 boats for the ABT winning the AOY, that's just phenomenal in my book. This year I'll never forget. Of course, I don't ever forget any of our tournaments, but it's been a very special year. And it's been, like he said, it's been a long time coming because we have put in a tremendous amount of work over our lifetimes, And like I said, there's a lot more people out there that probably practice more than we do, but with the amount of practice that we practice, I promise you nobody outworks us. You know what I'm saying? If we got 2 days, our 2 days is just as good, if not better, than anybody else's 2 days. So,
Okay.
I just want to say one thing too. I want to say congrats to the Northern guys that won the overall. I thought we had a good year. Them boys slammed the door on everybody.
Unbelievable.
Everywhere.
They did. They never finished lower than 17th, and that was at Smith Lake. And we're really in an area that they could have probably finished top 10 in that event. So they did have a good year. It's not normal for a North team to take the Angler of the Year. I think overall it's been like 7. The South's always had an advantage on the number of Anglers of the Year that have been there. But I think this year, I think we're still like 6 and 5. I think 6 in the South, 5 in the North. I have to go verify that. But they did have a good year, and I'm going to talk to them up next and let them kind of talk about their year like you guys have done. I do want to ask each of you one more question, then I'm going to let you go. Registration opens up August 15th. You guys don't have to worry about it. You're fishing on our dime this year, so that's pretty cool. Any words of wisdom or thoughts that you would give to new teams thinking about fishing the Alabama Bass Trail? CJ, I'll start with you.
I would say this is just my personal opinion. There's not a better trail ran in the country. I fished a lot of trails over my lifetime, including the collegiate level. And for the amount of money that's on the table, I mean, you're talking about $800 for 5 tournaments per person. I don't care. That's a deal. Okay. You can go down here to Lay Lake every weekend and spend $300, $150, $175, $200 on a tournament. You won't win $2,000, $3,000. So it's a great deal. I'm glad that the ABT is here. And I mean, like I said, I fished 80% of these tournaments since it's been here. I think Anthony's only missed 1 or 2 years, and I don't ever plan on missing a year. So it's a lot of fun. Some advice for younger anglers is, if you've got experience, don't be afraid to fish. I mean, there's kids in this top 20 that are in high school, and I'll be honest with you, I'm 31. I'm still a little young, but a lot of these young guys they're the guys you got to watch, okay? Because they might have resources that we don't, it just seems like this younger generation, they're more technologically advanced. They're more efficient. They're more efficient with their time on the water. With YouTube and everything. I mean, it took me and Anthony 31, 40 years to get where we're at. And now these younger kids, they're accomplishing stuff like this, 18, 19, 20 years old. I mean, look at Trey McKinney on the elites, killing it. Yeah. So I would just say to any new teams coming in, even if you are a younger team, don't let it hinder you. It's still just a tournament, and it's going to help you become a better angler for sure.
All right. How about you, Anthony?
I'm just going to second that too, man. That was good. You're not going to find a better trail. I mean, for the entrance fee, got a free championship. I mean, on average, the average finishing top 75, I mean, you need to catch about 10 pounds per event to make that free championship event. And I mean, but if you plan on winning, you better fish hard. You better put some time. Experience is losing, because I couldn't, between me and CJ, PFLs and Alabama Bass Trail events, we have lost a lot of tournaments to finally get our knowledge together enough to actually pull off the AOY and have a chance at winning some of these events. We have to have a lot of bad tournaments to have good ones. And that's just part of the curve. I mean, that's just the part of the ladder, So by far, Alabama Bass Trail is the best there is out there. So it's a lot of fun having your camera guys, Darren out there now and Luke. They're so much fun. And it's just a blast. Whether we catch them or not, me and CJ going to have fun. I'm going to bring a wig and put it on. It takes good luck. We're going to do something.
I wish you could have. I wish there would have been a camera on me on camera when I saw that. Like, I was just blown away. But I love that. I do love the fact that in a lot of ways it does feel like a big club tournament, because we do have a lot of fun. Our guys love it. Our team is phenomenal. I could not ask to work alongside 12 or 15 better people. And I love the chemistry our new on the water team has. It's really been way better than I thought it could have been. So I'm glad of that. And I'm glad that y'all enjoy them being out there. Not everybody does. So I appreciate that. Well, I'm going to let y'all get to work because I know y'all have other things to do. I do appreciate you sharing your time with me today, and congratulations. And I look forward to seeing y'all on Lay Lake if I don't see you before.
Thank you for this opportunity. We appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, that sounds good. I really appreciate everything y'all do for the state and for us fishermen. So it's very greatly appreciated.
Thank y'all. All right, guys, that does it for your 2024 Anglers of the Year in the South Division. CJ Knight, Anthony Goggins, 1,064 points. They're going to get a $2,500 cash bonus, a $2,000 prize pack from Garmin, and they get to fish on our dime next year. So that's an additional $1,600. We'll be right back with your North and overall Anglers of the Year, Justin Bussey and Ben Webb. Y'all stay tuned.
Big banks only care about one thing: ROI. So when it comes to your small business, you can expect a big no. At AmFirst, we don't just invest in your business. We invest in you and your goals. With great rates on loans, lines of credit to help you grow, and business checking accounts. Because at AmFirst, business is personal.
Welcome back to the Alabama Bass Trail Podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. Justin Bussey, Ben Webb, your 2024 North Anglers of the Year, but also the overall Anglers of the Year. They finished the year with 1,079 points out of a possible 1,125. Dudes, y'all had a year.
Yeah, it worked out. We come into the year, we felt real good about the schedule and thought that there were, several tournaments that set up good for us. And we come in fishing to win. We went into every event trying to fish to win each one of them, and it worked out. We never played it safe.
Never played it safe. I like that. Third year on the Alabama Bass Trail. You guys made the top 9 last year, I believe. First year was kind of a learning experience. 225 boats is a little intimidating at first, I think.
Well, the first year. Go ahead,
Go
Justin.
Ben.
All right. The first year.
That we,
Justin, we'll let
that we
Justin
fished,
start.
Go ahead, Justin.
But yeah, the first year that we fished, it was only our second year. Well, really, it was probably within our first year fishing together.
Mhm.
So it wasn't only a learning experience for the ABT, but also a learning experience for each other.
Okay.
So at that point, we hadn't been fishing together long, and we were trying to find our own fish, get away from the crowd that first year, and we took a little bit different approach and just felt like we were gonna, the next year and of course this year, we didn't let the crowd bother us. We did our own thing, and if we found fish where everybody else was at, we just felt like we could get in and outfish people.
Okay.
Yeah. That first year, it was my first experience on a lot of those lakes. I mean, I'm from North Mississippi, and we've got some good fisheries over here. Of course, Pickwick and Bay Springs and the Tombigbee River. It's a real diverse fishery around here, but I'd never been on Smith, never been on Gunnersville. So I've only got like 3 years of experience on those lakes. But Justin and I, we're real good about breaking down the lake and making adjustments on the fly. And like he said, we were, that first year we were still learning each other, and we kind of got it put together towards the end of the season. I think we made a top 10 at Gunnersville there, that last tournament. And we kind of just rode that momentum into the next season. And we had a decent season our second year. We finished, I think, top 8 and, overall, but we still felt like we didn't fish up to our true potential. And I guess this year we were just kind of mad at them. I thought we'd see a win before we'd see the AOY. So I mean, it's humbling to be able to say that we won overall AOY, but I'm hoping there's a win out there somewhere in our future.
Well, I can tell you haven't fished the most Alabama Bass Trail tournaments without a win. That's going to go to Brent Crow. He probably doesn't like the fact that I point that out on a regular basis. But Brent has fished almost every Alabama Bass Trail. He hasn't fished the South the last 2 years, but for the first 9 years, he fished the North and the South. And then when the 100s came out, he fished those, and he still didn't have a win. has several second place finishes and some third place finishes, but no wins yet. So he's still seeking out that first win. When you saw the schedule leading off with Pickwick, that had to feel pretty good. That's a great time to be on that body of water.
Oh, there's no question.
Yeah.
I would much rather fish Pickwick early on than in June.
Like we're going to do next year.
Yeah. But yeah, we like the schedule. I mean, it's set up the way that we like to approach those fisheries, and but really, it doesn't matter what the schedule is. Everybody's, it's the same playing field no matter what. You just got to, figure out what's best that day at that time of year, and just go with your gut. And that's kind of our approach, and it just has kind of worked out for us.
Okay. I want to ask a little bit about Anthony and CJ kind of mentioned this. I'll bring it up to you guys. Boat number rotation in a 225 boat tournament. It can play to your advantage or it can play to your disadvantage. In some people's mind, does it bother you, or do you pay attention to that in the tournament?
Yeah, I think the boat number is huge. I mean, depending on the time of the year and the lake that you're at, it can really make a big difference in your game plan. I mean, even at Gunnersville this last time, I think I know like Fisher and Ryan and Roman and Shannon. I think we found some of the same schools of fish like a lot of the guys do, but two of our first places we kind of run by, and there was a boat sitting here or two boats sitting there, and we run by our second place and there's a boat sitting there, and we really didn't want to go to the fish that we went to right off the bat. But boat numbers is a huge player. I mean, it just it doesn't really make you change the way you fish, but it makes you really put a lot of thought into what fish you go to at what time.
Right. We've seen that. I mean, that's one of the toughest things when I talk to people. They say, really pray about those boat numbers, Miss Kay. They always tell me to pray about them. They want me to pray about them before we assign boat numbers. And then a lot of people in the way we rotate boat numbers, 9 flights, if you divide 225 by 9, you get 45. So it's going to fluctuate 45 places each year, whether or not we go forward or backwards. That's what really screws people up, because they'll think we're going forward and we'll go backwards. And so it does screw people up. Your year, you had 3 top 10s and 2 top 20s, never finished below 17th, and that was Smith Lake. Talk about the Smith Lake tournament a little bit.
Yeah, I grew up in Dora, Alabama. It's like 20 minutes from Smith. So I grew up, I grew up on Smith before the Heron were really prevalent in there like they are now. So it fishes completely different. I moved off, played college baseball. So there was about a 10-year period of time where I never was on Smith at all. And so me and Ben's really, the past 3 to 4 years learned it together and learned, the way it fishes now. And it was one of the events that we were excited about coming into the season. We know that you catch 14 to 15 pounds any time of the year. That's going to be a pretty decent bag there. But, that time of the year, we know the weights. We expected 18 or so to win. 20 pounds is always one of those elusive bags on Smith Lake, and you have to have a big one to go with your limit most of the time to catch a 20-pound bag. But we felt good going into it. There were several big schools of fish that we found that weren't there on tournament day, and we kind of scrapped and put some things together and had a decent finish.
All right, Wheeler Lake. Of course, I'm a little partial to Wheeler Lake. It's my home lake. I don't get to fish very often out there, but Wheeler Lake, you had a 12th place finish. Ben, were you happy with that?
Wheeler's one of those lakes. It always gets us. But one thing about me is we could catch 35 pounds and I'd be griping on the way home. We didn't catch 36. I'm just kind of in my nature. I'm really never satisfied, but it was a win. Wheeler always seems to kick us in the teeth, no matter what kind of practice we have, whatever. And like the boat number thing, we never have a good boat number at Wheeler. We're always like 180, 190. The first year we fished Wheeler, we were like 196 or something. And we watched boat number 2 catch 20 pounds before they called our boat number. So those kind of things kind of plays in your head, but I like Wheeler. I like it, the way it sets up. I'm a Tennessee River guy, so anytime you can put me on Tennessee River, I'm comfortable. But it was kind of 12th place is great, but it was a moral victory for us just to get out of there with a decent bag, and it kind of boosted our confidence that, hey, that was the one on the schedule that we circled that we couldn't bomb that tournament, and to get out of there with a 12th place finish, I was tickled to death with it.
Well, it's kind of your hump day. The way I look at it, it's mid-season. You get a good idea of what the points look like. At what point did you think, okay, we've got a true shot at Angler of the Year?
After Wheeler.
After Wheeler?
After Wheeler, because I don't have that much experience on Neely, but I don't know. I just kind of fell in love with that place. I just like that kind of fishing, and it's a real neat fishery. And last year we didn't have that great of a tournament, but we had a really good practice, and it kind of opened our eyes to. I mean, we saw a 30-pound bag in practice. I had no idea that lake had that kind of potential, so that made me like it that much more. And after leaving Wheeler, knowing the time of year, and we kind of had a feeling how Neely was going to fish, and we felt like we could hang. We both looked at each other. We knew we had a realistic shot at it,
Gunnersville being the last event, you guys had good finish at Gunnersville before. You knew that you needed to finish in 21st place or better to get the overall Angler of the Year points. Did that play into how your strategy for that tournament at all?
I really don't think it did. We knew that, you're fishing against the fish. I mean, you got 225 of the best boats out there in the Southeast, but we know our abilities and what lives in Gunnersville. We felt like if we went out there and caught 20, plus pounds, which is harder said than done a lot of times, but 20 pounds at Gunnersville but you got to have 20 pounds just to be average. So we felt like if we could go out there, especially after practice, catching what we caught. I mean, on Wednesday, we just ran around checking, what stuff that we know historically. And we put together a, 26-pound bag pretty easily on Wednesday. And after that, we sat down in the seat and we grinded. I mean, literally idled 20 hours in 3 days looking for, some schools that was kind of off the wall and a little more sneaky. But Gunnersville's a special place. I'd love to be able to live on Lake Gunnersville.
It is a special place. We got to see you guys. I think we've put trackers and stuff on you throughout the year, but we chased y'all. I think Jason chased y'all as Angler of the Year winners. Talk a little bit about having that camera there, because there are people who like it and there are people who hate it. So Justin, we'll let you start.
Yeah, going into that morning, knowing we're leading Angler of the Year, doing an interview at the boat ramp first thing, and knowing that you're going to have a camera on you, most of the day, of course, the nerves, kind of shoot up first thing in the morning, and it is a little different, but I don't think we'll let it affect the way that we fished. We actually, Jason and them were great company. We were able to really explain what we were doing. I think the biggest scare we had was when we pulled up. I knew exactly where the place was at, but my graphs, for whatever reason, all my waypoints, none of my waypoints were there. So, you miss those fish by 50 feet, you're not going to catch them. So we're sitting there. I had to cut my graphs on and off 2 or 3 times, trying to get my waypoints to come up, just to make sure that we were on the fish. And on live, you've seen it. We had to sit down 2 or 3 times, graph past those fish, just to find them.
Ben?
I think my camera.
That's okay. Ben, we'll let you
camera.
talk a little bit about that as well, because you did have a good conversation and dialogue with Jason while y'all were out there fishing.
Well, Jason makes it easy too. He's just super professional. He's a super nice guy. But the camera doesn't bother me. They could have got closer to us as long as they stayed on the side of the boat they were on. They weren't going to bother us, or we don't worry about there are no secrets in bass fishing anymore. Everybody's got the same baits and the technology. I mean, it's the ABT. I mean, y'all put on a great tournament trail, but you're trying to make a TV show too. So, if anything we can do to make that easier, so I kind of play for the camera. I like it. I like, cutting up and goofing off, and
Well,
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
well, I have to say, you got the first Hawk Tua reference
did.
of the day. And
I was waiting on my time to shine there.
well, you did. And of course, the comment section recognized the fact that you had done that. I will say I was waiting on Luke or Darian to get their first shot in, because they like to get on the trending topic, and they'll get on that trending topic and stay there for a little while. But you did get the first jab at the Hawk Tua reference there on the Alabama Bass Trail Live. So you guys went on a tear, and I noticed when we started seeing you cull, Justin, you were in the back and you were culling, and you were, it's a real arduous process when that much is on the line. Not only $15,000 first place, but you've got Angler of the Year and overall Angler of the Year on the line. Talk about the pressure and the needing to make sure that you do that right.
Yeah, this time of the year, we really pride ourselves on our fish care, and this time of the year, you can never be too careful. I mean, I think we had 2 20-pound bags of ice and 3 other just normal, I think 7-pound bags of ice, and we ended up going through all of it. Of course, G-juice, and even though we didn't catch our fish deep, we still, fin clipped some of those bigger fish just to make sure that they stay down in the live well. So we even were taking that cooler, the extra cooler that we brought along, and laying it over top of our live well to make sure it just didn't get too hot throughout the day. So it's really it's so important. Of course, with a pound penalty, which we experienced at Neely, unfortunately, it's so it's just, you can't express the importance of keeping those fish healthy so we can release them to catch again. And but the way we do it, we make sure that whoever starts the culling process is the only person that touches the fish throughout the rest of the day. That way, that person knows exactly what fish is in the box, know which one needs to be culled next, and just so you don't make a mistake. So that's kind of how we approach the culling process. And once you have 20 pounds in the box, keep an eye on them pretty close. You're up there fishing the whole time. In the back of your mind, you're like, "Oh, are the fish okay?" So we keep a pretty close eye on them.
Well, I know we saw CJ Knight Anthony Goggins. I want to say it was at Logan Martin. They caught 2 really quickly, and CJ was back there culling, and inevitably he threw the cull tag away and not the fish. And so he's like, "Oh my gosh, I got so excited," because he's already culling, and it's so early in the morning, and that was really cool to see. I love the live coverage. I think you couldn't have asked for a better script at Lake Guntersville to see you and Ryan and Fisher side by side a lot of the morning to see, what they were doing. They did tell me they came up and talked to you afterwards about a school of fish that you guys were on, because they had found that same school and wanted to know, talk to you about it. So they spent a lot of time graphing and things too. And I think those are things that people don't understand, that a lot of times practice, you never cast, you're just graphing and looking. And I brought it up to Fisher on our podcast last week that I know a guy that used to do that a lot. I actually rode with him a long time and got to watch him do that. And his name was Aaron Martins, and he had a pretty good career in the bass fishing world. So those are fun things. 1,079 points out of a possible 1,125. I want to ask you a couple of things. The Alabama Bass Trail Championship on Lay Lake. Neither of you've ever fished Lay Lake. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I grew up on the Coosa River, and I've been on Neely and Logan Martin and Mitchell and all the other ones a lot, a bunch of times. And for some reason, I've never been on Lay Lake.
Something tells me your practice started on Sunday. Something tells me y'all started. Okay. I figured that. I'm not crazy. I kind of figured that. You guys are strong competitors. Any preliminary thoughts going into Lay Lake for October?
I think you're going to have a couple things going for you. I think, current's going to play, of course, anytime on the Coosa River, and, up the river at some point, it's probably going to play for some competitors, and same with down the river. I think you'll see competitors spread one end to the other of the lake, but I think you're going to have to catch them pretty consistent for 2 days in a row. I don't know exactly what it'll take to win, but it's the ABT, and you're going to have a solid back both days.
No doubt. What about you, Mr. Ben?
The way me and Justin fish is we find a consistent bite. Like if we could get in more multi-day events, I think we do even better. I just think we're good at that. Just total consistency. So I know that's what we're going to be looking for. I personally think you can get a lucky bite or have just a good day or just land on them, and you can win a 1-day event. But when you start talking about multi-day events, and you see it at the next level, you'll see somebody have a great big bag the first day and they won't even make the top 50 cut come Saturday. So that's what we're going to be looking for. Normally we don't have preconceived notions going into a place. We just kind of look at the conditions and kind of figure out what's going on, listen to what the fish are telling us. We even places we know, we try to go in there with a clean slate and deleting waypoints and all that stuff. And since we've never been to lay, it'll definitely be a clean slate. So I'm excited. It's going to be, I like going to new fisheries and breaking them down. So, win, lose, or draw, we're going to have a good time.
That's awesome. I want to ask you too, on an average Alabama Bass Trail tournament, how many practice days or how many practice hours do you think you put in for an average Alabama Bass Trail tournament?
I would say, 2 to 3 weekends before we're there, at least one of the days, those weekends, sometimes 2. And then typically the Thursday and Friday before. I think our approach to it is you spend 5 days, before the tournament. There's so much that changes, even a week before, 3 weeks before. I think, if you're practicing 2 or 3 weekends before, it's not to find the fish that you're going to catch on Saturday of the tournament. It's to give you an idea of the area of the lake. Sometimes it's just running around, like Ben said. We've never been to the lake. The first day that we put in, we're going to make a lap around the lake and try to understand what we're looking at.
Right.
So, I think the 2 days up to it are probably the most important days of practice, but we'll put 5 or 6 total days in before each event probably.
Okay. All right. You're going to extend your bass fishing season this year going into December at the Ouachita River. Have either of you ever fished the Ouachita River?
I've been across it in a truck. That's about it.
Well, you're not the only one. I've not talked to anyone yet who has experience on the Ouachita River. You're one of 9 teams representing the Alabama Bass Trail North Division. And then there is the Angler of the Year. I won't say you have a target on your back, but you kind of do. The Alabama Bass Trail has been the largest team trail in the Bassmaster Team Championship since its inception in 2014. So we always have a target on our back when we go in there, but we also have a little bit of a swagger. We've sent 2. Shane Powell and Jordan Wiggins have represented the Alabama Bass Trail at the Bassmaster Classic. How cool would that be to qualify for the Bassmaster Classic?
I think that's every fisherman's dream, is to have an opportunity to make it there. I'm not particularly trying to make a living out of fishing. I love fishing, grew up fishing, and have a lot of fun with it, but absolutely would love to have an opportunity to represent, the Alabama Bass Trail on that stage. That'd be phenomenal. Just to test your skills against some of the best in the world would be a huge accomplishment. Very humbling.
Cool. Ben?
Well, that's something I wanted to do since I was, knee high to a grasshopper, to, stand on that stage, the Bassmaster Classic. So if, that'd be a dream come true, and I think it'd be the same for anybody who, had that opportunity. But a lot of people might not know, but the Ouachita River is where Matty Wong, that's where he got his break, won the nation. That's how he got on the elites.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, it's a big place. There's, it's a river. It's not, it's not dammed up. It's, a lot of bayous and stuff come off of it. And I've done some research on it. I can't find anything in December, so who knows how it's going to shake out. But I think it'll be fun. We had a blast last year at the Harris Chain. That was our first like Florida fishing experience. We got a closet full of t-shirts from that place, learning their lessons in Florida. I like to get a do-over at that, but me and Justin, we travel well together, and I think we kind of keep each other grounded, and we're just real good about not getting spun out. If one of us does get spun out, the other one kind of settles you down. And going to new fisheries like that, it takes two people like that to kind of get it broke down and figured out. I'm looking forward to it.
I agree. I'm excited about the opportunity for our guys to go there, and it is a river. Like it is. It's a totally different experience, I think, than what people have fished the Bass Team Trail in the past. We've always been like at Kentucky Lake or Gunnersville, Eufaula, Hartwell. So I do think it is going to be different. It's going to allow you guys to spread out a little bit more. I think that's going to be really cool. I love the fact that we've sent two to the Bassmaster Classic. I would love for us to have our third team on that stage, or a third person on that stage. My question is, we saw Jordan Wiggins and Wesley Sams do the rock, paper, scissors. If you make it to day 3 and 4, I need you to figure out how you're going to decide who gets the juice. Okay. Is it going to be rock, paper?
I'm bigger than he is. We're just going to wrestle for it.
Wrestle that. I may need to bring a live camera for that.
Whoever has the fastest boat.
Whoever has the fastest boat. Hey, I like those two things. I love how Jordan and Wesley did it. One of my favorite stories in all of Bass ABT time is Wesley said, I'm going to quit fishing 40 minutes early, and I'm going to go to him. I'm going to make sure he gets in. I'm going to, follow him in, make sure he gets in, because, boat trouble can happen and everything like that. And Bass kind of has a similar rule that we do. You can get assistance from someone on the water that's in the event, but you can't get assistance from other people. So Wesley's like, I'm going to follow him in. I'm going to make sure he makes it in on time, because if I can't be in that position, I want my guy to be there. So that's the essence of the Alabama Bass Trail, and that's one of the reasons that I love it so much. I'm going to ask y'all similar questions to what I asked Anthony and CJ. Ben, I'll let you go first. If you had to describe your fishing style, what would that be?
I don't think I really have a style. I mean, I'll catch them on a spinning rod, or I'll throw a 9-inch glide bait. Just whatever they're biting, I'm throwing. I just I guess I just have more of an adaptive style. Just whatever we got to do to put them in the boat, what I'm willing to do.
Okay, Justin.
Yeah, I would say we excel on in offshore events. We being on the Tennessee River, we excel with our graphs and spending time in a seat, finding schools of fish, but I grew up, like I said, at Smith Lake and on the coast of the river, so we're adaptive to that style, and we're able to get up and parallel a bank, throwing a square bill, and just whatever we have to do. We really don't. I think that's what helps us so much, is we don't get locked into a fishery saying this is how you're supposed to catch them. We analyze each event. We go there and we let the fish tell us what to do. And I think you look at immediately, there was a lot of people catching fish in the grass this year, and we tried that. We caught 50 fish out of the grass, and they were all 12 inches. And I think we did something completely different than probably what a majority of the field did that day. And that's what, that's how we had success. So I think that's what helps us a lot, is we really don't just buy into what the dock talk is. We go out there and figure out what the fish are telling us. And if we got to catch them on a Nico rig and 30 foot of water, that's what we're going to do. Or if we can throw top water, then that's what we're going to do. So it just depends on what the fish are saying.
All right, last question. August 15th opens up registration for new teams. You guys don't have to worry about it. You're fishing on Alabama Bass Trail Dime. Miss Kay gets you registered before it ever opens. So if you knew new teams that were going to be signing up, what would your advice be to them? Justin, we'll let you start.
Be ready and be quick. I remember when we first got in, I had, the template that you send out. I wrote all of our information down quick with a computer, but I had everything in order. Everything wrote down in the exact order that you send it out, and be prepared. Sit there and hit refresh, wait on it to open, and as soon as you're available to start inputting your information, start inputting it in as quick as possible, get your payment in and hit submit, and hopefully you get the email that pops up that says you're in. So be very quick is my advice.
And once they're in, any advice then?
Be ready. Just, it's there's a lot of great anglers out there, and you got to put in your practice time and just have fun. I think that's the key. A lot of people get so consumed about the competitive aspect of it, but if you go out there and have fun and learn at each location that you go to, you'll have success.
Good deal. How about you, Mr. Ben?
Well, he pretty much covered all that. One thing, if you're on the fence about joining and trying to get into ABT, one thing I don't think you get enough credit, Miss Kay. Like at Gunnersville, it was 2,000 degrees out there, and you've been up since the crack of dawn, and you're running like literally full sprint from stage to trailer. I just don't think you get the credit you deserve for how hard you work. And without you, I just don't think the ABT would be what it is. Then you got Darren Craig and Luke Duncan and Jason Duran and Daniel Montgomery and John Simpson. I mean, it's just a phenomenal organization, and you're not going to be part of a better organization. And there's really not a better platform for your, say, weekend guys to come and do something like this. And if you ever get in, I'd say 90% of the people that get in are going to try to stay in, because it's just, you're fishing against legends like Terry Tuckers and Jackie Flax and people like that. And we've made lifelong friends. We're friends with the Calverts, and we're getting to know the Anais and Wesley Sams, and it's a family. The ABT is a family, and I'm going to stay in it and stick with it as long as I can, because I just absolutely love everything about it.
Well, thank you. I said this earlier, I have one of the best teams to work alongside. The days are long, and they get, especially in that 200-degree heat, and and things happen, and when you think everything is like, we're this close, it's going to be over, and this internet goes down back in the home station in Birmingham and live goes off. And so that's what I was running to the trailer about, was trying to reset the live up and all that. So there are so many things that can go wrong, and they usually do. Hopefully y'all don't see as many of those, but Mark Brown bumping all those fish, and John and Daniel and the setup and the just the intricate details that they have. And do we ice the ramp? Do we sand the ramp? Do we do this? Do we do that? There's so much that goes into that, and I give those guys all the glory that they deserve. We have a great team, and I'm so blessed that I've partnered myself alongside them, and we've got more to come. I'm excited about that. We're going to be announcing a new hire soon, so I'm excited about that. Not replacing anybody, an additional person. So I'm excited about that. You guys will find out soon about that, but congratulations on your year. I'm going to go over it for you. $2,500 cash bonus to you guys, $2,000 Garmin prize pack. You'll be getting that Garmin at the championship. And then fishing on the Alabama Bass Trail Dime, $1,600 entry fee, $6,100 runner-up Angler of the Year prize pack. Pretty good deal. Y'all get to register before everyone else gets to register. That's always a fun thing too. So congratulations on a phenomenal year on the Alabama Bass Trail. Looking forward to seeing you guys at Lay Lake. And even though you're not Lay Lake specific, I think you'll be in a lot of people's top 5. I really believe that.
Well, bass is a bass.
Justin, what were you saying?
Yeah, Ms. Kay, like Ben said, I just wanted to take a second to say thank you as well. It's been a phenomenal year. It's really humbled us and kind of put a lot of things into perspective. We've had a lot of things happen this year. We talked about it a little bit on live with Ben's, boat wreck here recently. A lot of people don't know about that. I was very fortunate to come out of that unharmed, and some close friends that unfortunately lost their lives this year in a boat wreck on the way to a memorial tournament. So it's been a very humbling year, and we've had so much support, family, friends, the ABT, Republic Finance that sponsors our boat. Just all in all, it's been a great time. We've had a great time. All the competitors, like Ben was saying, the Calverts or any of the people that we talk to on the ABT, you feel like if you break down out there, you can hold your hand up and somebody's going to pull over to you and help you out. So that's just what we love about the ABT family, and just very fortunate to be in the position that we're in. And we hope that we're able to represent the ABT the way that it should be represented, you know, at any ABT event or the championship or at the Bassmaster Team Championship. So thank you for all you do and all the team does, and we look forward to the championship more years to come.
Thank you so much. I mentioned to Ryan and Fisher, I had so much respect for Shannon and Roman. They waited until Ryan and Fisher got done with their academy wrap up. They waited until they got done with their TV wrap up. And I heard Roman say, I want to tell Fisher and Ryan, congratulations. To me, it's 150 degrees on that asphalt or whatever. You've been out there 12 hours already, but you're willing to wait your turn to in person tell them congratulations. That to me spoke such volumes of the true quality of person that we have fishing the Alabama Bass Trail. And that to me is such an honor to know that we have that type of integrity and that type of just good person that fishes with us. So I really, my respect level went so high for those guys. Super, super high. Well, I want to thank y'all for spending part of your day with me. We are recording this a little early because next week is a holiday week and we'll all be jam-packed trying to get our work in early. So thank y'all for tuning in with me today. If I don't see you before Lay Lake, I will see you at a $100,000 championship down on Lay Lake in a few months. Okay?
Sounds good.
Yes, ma'am.
All
Thank
right.
you for having us.
All right, guys, there it is. Your overall anglers of the year for the 2024 season. Justin Bussey Ben Webb representing the North Division, 1,079 points. And I don't know why I said that. Y'all, why didn't y'all correct me? Y'all are getting a $5,000 bonus. What the heck am I talking about? A $5,000 bonus. They would have really been mad at me if I'd have brought them a $2,500 check to the championship. They're getting a $5,000 cash bonus from the Alabama Bass Trail. So y'all should have corrected me.
We'll take whatever you'll give us.
Hey, I'm going to tell Ben to edit that out. That people can't be thinking Miss K's wrong ever. So we'll have to edit that out. No, I'm just kidding. We'll keep it in there. But there you go, guys. $5,000 bonus from the Alabama Bass Trail. We'll be back in just a minute. You're watching the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. Y'all stay tuned.
Nobody wants to run out of power when they're on the water. There is a better way. Introducing the Charge Marine Power Management Station from PowerPole that does the work of 3 devices, a traditional battery charger, a charge on the run, and an emergency start system. PowerPole Charge.
Welcome back to the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. This is the third and final segment, and you know, this is really about the anglers of the year. So I'm not going to take a lot of time to kind of recap anything, except for we have 2 amazing teams that's going to be representing us as anglers of the year in the championship there on Lay Lake, a team that's very familiar with Lay Lake and a team that's never been there before. So that's really cool. $100,000 up for grabs, no entry fee. You got to earn your way there. 170 teams. They received their text messages earlier in the week, so they know who they are. They know to start preparing. So we're excited to get back down to Lay Lake, discover Shelby County. They do a phenomenal job with helping us there, and the extensions that they've built on the docks and all the things that they do to help have big, big tournaments there. So we're looking forward to that. I do want to remind you, Alabama Bass Trail registration, we mentioned it on the podcast. It opens August the 15th for new teams, 5:30 Central Standard Time. That is 54 days from when you'll be hearing this podcast. So make sure that you have all of your information ready. As Justin said, everything written down, ready to go, ready to start entering that information. We'll do more videos about that as we lead up. So make sure that you are following the Alabama Bass Trail on Instagram and on Facebook. And then we will be, about middle of July, we'll start telling you everything that you're going to need to know to get registered. So goes quick, usually sometime around 20 minutes is what it takes us to fill up all those spaces. So don't get left out and get waited on the waiting list like the 95 people from this year. Make sure that you are in and ready to go. I don't take that for granted, and I don't assume that, and I certainly don't take it for granted. You have a choice of who you fish with on your tournaments. I'm going to take those off. you have a choice, and we appreciate the fact that you choose the Alabama Bass Trail. And then a lot of times you choose us first because our registration opens first. We don't take that for granted, and we hope that every time you see our team that you understand we are here to earn your business. You may not agree with all of our decisions, but you should understand we are here to make decisions for the entire body and not for one or two people. So we are very honest about that. So if you want to come be a part of the Alabama Bass Trail family, we invite you to do so. We look forward to the 2025 season. We still have a little unfinished 2024 business, and we'll take care of that when we get down on Lay Lake, and then we'll wrap it up here at Wheeler Lake for the ABT 100. So I do want to thank CJ Knight, Anthony Goggins, and Justin Bussey and Ben Webb for joining me today on the Alabama Bass Trail podcast. Get to hear about their seasons, their thoughts on how the season went overall, whether it was boat number, whether it was different lake, whether it was competition, full field, whatever. You got to hear all of that. Appreciate them taking time out of their day. But this wraps it up. We do hope you will subscribe, rate, and review this show on your favorite podcasting app. We hope you get outside and enjoy the great state of Alabama. There are a lot of things to do, from state parks to beaches to great food, great breweries, great wineries throughout the state of Alabama, great hiking trails. So be sure to get out and enjoy what the great state of Alabama has to offer. And guys, we'll see you next week on the Alabama Bass Trail podcast presented by Phoenix Boats. Have a great day. God bless. Good fishing. And as Big Daddy would always say, get outdoors.
Thanks for listening to the Alabama Bass Trail podcast. To learn more about the Alabama Bass Trail, make sure and visit alabamabasstrail.org.